You can insert videos into your slides one of a couple of ways. One way is if you have a placeholder like I do here. The last icon in it is the insert video. Go ahead and click on it and it opens up and you can browse for a video file on your computer. You can search YouTube and embed the video here or paste code to embed within your presentation. Both of which, for the most part, especially YouTube, if it's, well, online, you want to make sure when you're giving the presentation that you have uninterrupted internet access, because when you get to that really critical slide that has a YouTube or embedded code video that's pulling it from across the internet, oh man, you're toast if that doesn't play. So it's probably best to go ahead and insert the video as a file on your computer. Or if you don't have that option, well, the best of luck, make sure you got your internet connection secured. So you can do it that way, close out, or if you don't have a placeholder and you don't want to add one, then just come up here, click on the Insert tab, come over to the Media group, click on the Video drop-down arrow, and you can do it online or from the computer. So online, again, gives us YouTube that we can search, or we can go ahead once we find a video online to copy the code, paste it here to embed it, and you can do it from YouTube. Embed the code here, and embedding the code gives you more control over the video, and I'll go over that later on, but for right now I want to keep it simple. Let me close out and not do any onlines just yet, but let's go ahead and click on the video drop down arrow and choose a file, a video file from off of my computer, or PC to be politically correct. Go ahead and click on it, and what it's looking for, the video files, you can see when I hover over it, have all these different extensions, and half of which I don't even know. And so if you can't see it when it's selected video files, it's probably something that Windows doesn't recognize as a video file. But if you're sure that it is, then click on the drop down arrow and change it from the default video files to all files, and you'll be able to see it. And then go ahead and select it to insert it, and hopefully it'll play it. In any case, let's just do video files, and it's my PowerPoint 2016 introduction. When you see it, double click on it and it inserts. And there's the first, well, second of the video with my splash screen. A Dreamforce production, my name and certifications. Oh, that's fun. And you can resize this if it's not big enough, but be mindful that if you hover over the left, right, top, or bottom, middle resizing handles, click and drag. Ugh, okay, that's distorted. That's not doing it for me. Let's go ahead and hit undo. But instead, you can go ahead and hover over one of the corner handles and click and drag to make it bigger, to keep it proportional, and then click and drag to move it around. And to center it, you can, well, when you get to the point, you'll have a red guide, dash guide that goes down the middle of it. As you can see, in the middle of my, well, it's larger than a thumbnail preview, but the preview screen of my training video, and let go. And then just like the previous training video for audio, when you insert, in this case video, you get the play bar down below, as we saw in the previous training video on audio, that you can click to play and to pause it. And for each one of these buttons, you can see it tells you what it is, and the pop-up and the shortcut keys for moving back a quarter of a second. Let's go ahead and play it first. So play it, and it begins to play, gives you a preview of it, fades in, and then you can pause it. And you can also jump around at any point here and then play it from that point on, and then pause it. And of course you've got your moving back a quarter of a second, back or forward quarter of a second, and then the current time that it's at within the play area. And it's right there, 18.75. I didn't hover right over it, so it's at exactly 18.77. Then you have the volume throughout the play. You can click on it to mute it, in which case it slides the circle down to the bottom, click on it, and, well, that's high. If you want to really blast out your audience during the presentation, then go full max and click and drag the circle all the way to the top. As you can see when I hover over it, it's up there. And then in addition to this, when you have it selected, when you click off, the play bar disappears. When you hover over it, it reappears, but when you hover off, it disappears. But when you select it and hover off, it stays up. So in addition to getting your play bar up when you have the image selected for the video, you also get its related contextual format and playback tabs. First of all, format. We covered this in earlier training videos. Okay, not about the video styles or how to format it, but we talked about pictures, shapes, objects, that it's basically the same thing when it comes to corrections, changing the color, or using one of the video styles to hover over it, gives it a nice frame to it. That's the beveled frame gradient. Or you can do video shapes, and let's do a heart, and it turns it into a heart. Okay, well that's not doing it for me, but you get the idea. Let me go ahead and hit undo, I'm going to leave most of this up to you because, like I said, I explained it many times over in previous training videos for like border color and effects. In this case, it's for the video, but it's the same thing. You can go ahead and have a nice, warm, glowing, warm 18-point red accent color 1. That's the name of it. Click on it and click off, and oh, that kind of gives it a nice aura to it. Isn't that fun? Go ahead and select it. In any case, there you go for your formatting. But let's jump right to the playback tab, get right to the meat and potatoes of this. Over on the left-hand side, we'll go from left to right. You can, of course, get a preview of it, click play, and it starts to play. As you can see down here, and there goes the play bar. You can also pause it as well up here. Next, you can add bookmarks, so if there comes a certain point within the video that you want to be able to mark it, so you can quickly jump back to it at any point. Like, you know, if it's something funny and you go to the end of a 5-minute video and people are like, yeah, let's see it again, or something you want to emphasize a specific product at that point in the video, then with a bookmark, you can jump. How do you jump to it? Well, first you got to add the bookmark. So wherever it's at right here, and it's at exactly 4.38, that if you click on add bookmark, it adds a little yellow dot. Oh, isn't that nice? And then when you hover over it, it says it's bookmark 1. And you can use the Alt-Home or Alt-End keys if you're before it. If you Alt-End to jump right to it. If you're after it, well, you can just jump right to the end. And if you're somewhere before the end, but after it, and do Alt-Home, it'll jump right back to it. And if you do it quick enough, Alt-Home will take you to the beginning. So your bookmark is the stop between going home, if you're past it, to the bookmark, or before it, to the bookmark before it goes to the end. So let's go ahead and do another one, because I don't know about you, but I don't simply just click and know exactly where things are at, but I like to play it. And so, okay, I like this, but I want to see it projected. So if I go ahead and click play, then I can click add bookmark the moment that thing gets projected. Cool. So now I have 2 bookmarks. Now this is how it's going to work. So let's go ahead and go to just before it. Now remember the shortcut keys, as it says when you hover over it. When I'm before it, if I go to Alt-End, it'll jump right to it when I begin playing this. So play, Alt-End, and then Alt-End jumps right to it. Let's do Alt-Home, jumps right back, Alt-Home, jumps right to it, Alt-Home, Alt-Home, Alt-Home. You see what I had to do? When I got to this point and it started playing past it, if it went beyond like maybe a half a second and I hit Alt-Home, it went back to bookmark 2. So to get past to going back to bookmark 2, but to go back to bookmark 1, when it started to play at bookmark 2, I had to hit Alt-Home and Alt-Home almost instantaneously to jump right back to bookmark 1, because if I let it go a half a second and I hit Alt-Home, it just keeps going back to bookmark 2. So keep that in mind. You got to be quick with those fingers to be able to jump around with those bookmarks, or since you already have them there, you know what they're about, you can just go ahead and click on it, right? And jump right to it by clicking on it without using those shortcut keys, Alt-Home and Alt-End. And then if you want to remove one of these guys, like maybe the first one, select it, come up here, and you got the remove option, and it's gone. And then click on that one, hover over it, and bookmark 2 is still there. And it says bookmark 2, so that way you can know, hey, where's bookmark 1? Well, it didn't renumber them, so it kept it at bookmark 2, so you know at one point there was a bookmark 1. Okay, next up here on the ribbon, we have the editing, where we can trim the video if it's too long in either direction or both directions. You can see when you hover over it, shows you how it's done. Click on it, and I'll show you how it's done. So my video is a total of 29.93 seconds long. You can go ahead and click and drag the start bar in and the end bar, end time, drag it in. And oh, it's going to be a very short video, right? You can do it that way, and then click play and see where it goes. And if you're like, it should end right about just after the bookmark, click pause, and then bring it to that point, or when it plays to that point, like let me drag it back, whatever point that was, 17 point something, you can come down here and actually type it in numerically for the end time, if you remember it. And then when I type it in, automatically it jumps right to it, or you can use the spin dials and go this way, that way. In any case, it's going to be a very short video. So let's do something really short, click okie dokie, crops it, so when I play it, it's very, very short. Not 30 seconds, it ends in about almost 5 seconds. So if you're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, that's okay. Just come back up here and click on trim video, and it still gives you the option to go back out and essentially basically just undoing it all. And then clicking OK. And we're back to where we started for trimming the video. Now how about fading in and fading out? Well, if your video starts abruptly, like you got some drag race, cars just in full gear, just blasting off, I mean, that'll have the audience jumping. How about if you fade it in slowly, where it doesn't automatically have it jerk you right into some sudden video scene? Instead, you can use the spin dials, or let's do 10 seconds, hit the tab key, for it to fade in. So what that means is that it's going to start off dark, and then to get up to full brightness and speed and audio, it's going to take 10 seconds. And then, let's go ahead and play it right now, see what it looks like. Okay, so that's the start screen. Oh, the audio's already started. Oh, that's taking painfully forever. So the audio is starting, but the image is just fading in so slowly. Well, that's too much for me. I'd probably knock it down to a few seconds in this training video, or not at all. I already have a fade in, but that wasn't done through PowerPoint here. And let's go ahead and change it to 0. How about a fade out? Well, when it gets right to the end here, maybe you don't want it to stop abruptly, but kind of give them a nice little warning how you dim the lights. In this case, you're going to dim the video. How about if we do it by 5 seconds? That shouldn't be too rough. And let's get to the end of about 5 seconds, close to it. And you see how it's beginning to fade already? It fades out the audio, fades out the video, and it goes back to the beginning. The image that we have in the beginning. It won't do that during the presentation, will it? Well, should we go ahead and take a peek, see what it looks like? Let's begin the slideshow. And remember the last 5 seconds, go ahead and hover over the picture here to get our play bar. And when you click play, you can jump right to the end. PowerPoint 2016 training videos. And it goes right back to the beginning. Yes, it does actually do that. So what you see, let's hit the escape key. During the preview, in the design view, will actually show exactly like that during the preview. So you may want to make sure that you've got something that begins your video that you can return to that you're okay with. In fact, if I can kind of jump ship just a little bit, because speaking of which, having a starting image to go with, also known as, let's come up here, click on the Format tab, go to the Adjust group, a poster frame. Set the preview image for the video clip. Let's go ahead and click on it and choose an image from the file, because this is the default image. That's the first second within my video that it just took a snapshot of. Well, what if I don't want them to see the first second of my video? It's supposed to be a surprise. Well, you can choose another image to have that as the overlay, because when you're giving your presentation and you get to the slide, it's not like sometimes you're automatically going to play it. You may be sitting there talking about it before you begin it, in which case you don't want to give away what the video is about. So instead of having the first snapshot of the video there for them to see, you can overlay it with an image. So image from a file on your computer, go ahead and click on it. And okay, let's browse. And I'll do something very simple. Pictures, sample pictures. Okay, tulips. I'm very easygoing. Double click. So you can see that the poster frame is set, meaning that when you play it, it totally skips the image and goes right into the video. But that's what they're going to see when we come down here and begin the slideshow, the image. So it could be a totally different image, maybe an April Fool's joke, where they think they're viewing one thing, but then when you play it, let me move my mouse, click play, boom, we're right into the video. So if it's a surprise, or if it's something that you don't want people to see until you're ready, well, go ahead and give it a poster frame image. Let me hit the escape key and jump out. And then let's hover down here and go to the end. And you see how it goes back to the poster frame image and not to the first snapshot of the actual video that had my certifications. So hey, hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You get something that you begin with, and the same thing that will close it off is that poster frame. So hit the escape key. Now that I had my ADD moment, hopefully that was helpful. Well, let's come back up here and go back to the playback tab. So we finished with the editing, fading in, fading out. How about the video options? Okay, first of all, we got our volume and it's set to high. And so when I come down here and hover over the speaker, let me click off, hover over the speaker, well, it's all the way up there, isn't it? Come back up here and click on it, set it to medium, hover back over it. Okay, there's medium. And when I go down here, what's that? Click on it. It's low. So you can change the volume here, including going back to high, hover over it. And high is not really high. It sets it right here. So if you really want it above high or as high as you can go, don't trust the volume settings here because it says high. That's not really all the way to the max. Instead, you'll have to hover. Let me click off. have to hover over the speaker and click and drag it all the way to the top to know that you're getting the most out of high. And then next, we've got the Start In-Click Sequence. Let me click on it. And this is new to PowerPoint 2016. The previous versions had automatically or when clicked on. So you can automatically play the video when you advance from the previous slide. Well, let me show you. Let's go ahead and start up here. Click on Start Slideshow. And then when I click, it automatically starts to play. See? All right. Hit the Escape key a couple of times. And then let's go ahead and select the image so we can come back up here on the Playback tab to get our video options. So you can do it automatically or when you click on it. So again, when I begin my presentation and I get to slide 2 and I want to be able to play it, I have to click on it. Or, like I said, new to PowerPoint 2016 is In-Click Sequence. What that means is that you don't have to click on it. It just means that what is the sequence of what's on that slide that it's going to be playing in. And so you can have a sequence when there's other animations and they'll be numbered of how you want to play it. But right now I just have one. So with In-Click Sequence, the sequence goes when I advance to the slide and I click, it won't advance to the next slide. Okay, well, if I had another slide, so let me select this and go ahead and hit enter, and it copies the same layout. So I have another slide, right? So normally when I advance from one slide to the next, when I go from slide 2 to slide 3, I can just go ahead and click the mouse anywhere on it and it advances. But because this is the next sequence before it advances to the next slide, and it's the only animation and video I have on there, it'll play that first, and then when I click again, it'll go to the next slide. Okay, let's go ahead and see this. So with this slide selected here, let's go ahead and click on Slideshow. And let me move my pointer up off of it so you can tell that I'm not clicking on it to play it, because it's got In-Click Sequence. Click off of it. It plays it because that's the next thing that's going to be to click Sequence. Click on it, and then it just advances right to the next slide. So that's the next sequence. Once it plays, is to go to the next slide. Let me hit the Escape key. Okay, back to slide 2. Select the image so we can get our Playback tab. And then next we've got Play Full Screen. So when I check that and I play it, it just pops open to fill up the entire screen. You want to see it? Alrighty. I'm easygoing. Let's show it. And then when I click play, boom, fills up the entire screen. Oh, that's marvelous. Let's hit the Escape key a couple of times to get back out of that. And then you've got Hide While Not Playing. Well, let me uncheck this. If you check that, that doesn't make sense when you have it on clicking either in sequence or when clicked on, because if it's being hidden while it's not playing and you can't play it because you can't see it to click on it, it doesn't work. So the only thing it'll work with is automatically. So how do you do that? Well, let's go ahead and just do it so I can show you when clicked on when I begin it. I can't see it, so I can't click on it. It doesn't work, right? Hit the Escape key, go back to slide 2 to prove my point. Select the image, click Playback tab, and then the only way it'll work is with automatically. So let me select slide 1. So what's going to happen is when I advance to slide 2, it's going to automatically play, but it's not going to show it while it's not playing. But because it's part of the automatic sequence, well, it'll pop up. Let's go ahead and begin the slideshow. Go to slide 2, automatically starts playing.
PowerPoint is a software program used for creating graphical.
And then when I get to the end, it disappears because it's done playing. It says to hide it when it's not being played. So that's nice. That way we can go ahead and stay on this and talk about my training videos. And I showed you one, and without distracting the audience, once it's done, it hides itself. And I can continue my conversation until I'm ready for the next slide, again, without that video being there, distracting the audience if it has some image on there that, might distract them, like some big juicy piece of chicken or turkey or a sugary donut. Yeah, let's hit the Escape key to get back out of there. Select it again, and come back up here, click on the Playback tab, and let's continue. Okay, let me uncheck that. Loop until stopped. Oh my goodness, that's just going to play and play and play forever until somebody says, well, during the play, stops it there. And you can also rewind after playing, so instead of staying at the end of it when it's done, it'll automatically go back to the beginning, so you can play it again, as it were, without having to rewind it yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of all this so I can show you how to insert a video from YouTube. So with it selected, the video, hit the delete key, and we're back to where we started. Let's go ahead with the placeholder, come down below and click on Insert Video. We want to search YouTube. Let's type in me, Kurt Kershaw, hit enter. Oh, and look at all these fun videos. Ooh, Access, that sounds fun. Select it, click on Insert. Ooh, it's about yay big. Okay, that's not going to play very well or look good during the presentation. So let's come up here, click on the Playback tab, and you don't get the option to play full screen, so you better resize it. Click and drag to fill up as much as you can here. You may have to cover, well, let me bring it down so if it's important to really have the title there. There we go. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like when I play it. Click on Slideshow and hover over it, click, and it plays. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Let me go ahead and jump to the end here. See the little sunny guy? Hey, subscribe to me. I'd love for you to join me on YouTube. Except I do have ads on my YouTube videos to help pay for it. So if you don't want the ads, let me go ahead and pause this. So if you don't want the ads, please go ahead and purchase my training videos directly. They won't come with any ads, obviously, just for YouTube. But you see the end screen here where I got my mug that you can go ahead and subscribe, or, well, for $2 a month you can have access to all my videos. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.